everyone. Welcome to week 6, and I know you all are going to start your final ID project, and so I wanted to kind of give you all an idea of what it is to start your Canvas build. And I was going to record our fireside chat from yesterday, however, the recording didn't come out the way that I wanted it to, so I'm doing a new one that I hope will help you all again become more familiar with the use of Canvas. So, as I was explaining to the people from yesterday who joined the fireside chat, when we talk about building, think of instructional designers in two roles. You can think of them as an architect who is designing the blueprints and building a course, or they can also be kind of the foreman, the construction worker of building what the architect had planned. So at times there will be the need for you all to just design things like the lesson plans and potentially work with an educational technologist or someone else, a multimedia specialist, to build your course. Or you might be on the receiving end where you have another instructional designer plan out the learning design and give you the directions to build the course in a learning management system. So that brings me to the point of, and sometimes you can wear both hats too, but that brings me to the point of once you get into Canvas, the learning management system. And so to clarify a little bit more, as you know, with a learning management system, it just makes things easier for teachers. It holds the materials, it's where the grade book can be, it's where the students can interact, it's the place to be for your educational experience. And there's different ones. We use Canvas, but there's other ones like Blackboard, Moodle, D2L. So those are all common Angel learning management systems that have been shared with the world. And there's more than that, and sometimes universities create their own. But so for this final ID project, I just couldn't let you guys walk out the door without getting your hands a little dirty with being in a learning management system. So that way, even though you may use what you're designing for a project or just a video that you're sharing and not necessarily within Canvas, you at least would be able to have some experience working with a learning management system on the back end. You have good experience as students using an LMS, but then seeing the background of it will help too. So the next thing that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen with you all, and I will walk through how to build a course in Canvas from like a basic level. All right, give me one moment to get things in place. Okay, I'm going to take myself off. All right. So right now you should see the Canvas course. It's my sandbox. It's empty. So when you requested your sandbox with UF, they should have sent you an email basically saying, hey, your sandbox is coming to you. And when you come in and then after a little while, you can come into Canvas and look at the dashboard and see your sandbox. So here again, when you come into your sandbox course, you're basically going to see nothing. And so it's a little daunting to then be like, okay, how am I going to start building? So let me go ahead and go over the navigation. So over here to the left, let me go ahead and add some kind of pointing out feature so that I can point to you all to the right places. So over here, over here, you're going to have the initial navigation area where you will see your dashboard, how to get to different courses, your own profile. That's the first level of navigation. Then over here in this area, as you see that I'm kind of circling with this blue pointer, is going to be the second level of navigation, where that's going to tell you how to get to the quizzes, to the assignments, etc. So that's something that you are probably more familiar with using and getting into the course. And then over here, you have the area of where you would be seeing the things that you're creating. So what I'm going to do now is then have you all go to Pages, and when you go to create a page, you'll basically see this interface, and you can then go ahead, for example, type your heading. So let's go ahead and say you want to do a lesson title, and you want to call it How to Bake Cookies. And then here is where you type in your body. Now, when you go over accessibility, you're going to realize that you want to, for example, people tend to say Introduction to Baking Cookies, and they want to make that, for example, the header to the paragraph. And so instead of, making it a header for real, they kind of bold it, they might underline it, etc. But for accessibility's sake, so that the screen reader can read it, you can then go ahead and make this a heading 2. Because when you're at this level, it's a heading 1, and this is a heading 2. So then when someone who needs accessibility, I'm going to bring myself on screen so you can kind of see me talk. There I am. And I'm going to take off the pointer and move myself to the side, make myself a little bit smaller so I take up less room on the screen. There you go. And so you see that here with Introduction to Baking Cookies, you've made it a heading 2, so that when someone is doing a screen reader and they're not able to see the screen and the reader's reading everything, they can read the lesson title and then also say heads up that there's like a heading 2, and then read the content below. So for many of you, you'll go ahead and come here and then start typing, etc. Being like, these, the reason why I'm going over this lesson. So basically what you can do is take from your lesson plan and copy and paste here. So that's one way of building your course, and I'm going to go over the interface some more so that way you can become more familiar with things. So over here to the left is where you can have the font size. You can then choose, for example, whether it's something's a paragraph, a heading, what level of heading, if you want to bold text, italicize. So the area here is very similar to what you would see in like a Word document, a word processing situation. Now, when you go over here to these other things, you can, for example, change the color. You can highlight things in different colors. If you're teaching math or science, you have your exponents and subscripts that you can also do too. This is the part where you might be most interested in linking things externally, or the course links. So for example, if you click on external links, you can type in any or paste any website and paste it here so that it's then related to the text and people can hyperlink and click on it. Now, if it's something within the course, like when you're in my course and you need to go to quizzes and discussions, it's within the course, you can click on course links and it'll take you to the different areas and you can link to other parts of your course. Okay? So again, we've gone over the different areas of navigation. We've gone to a page. We opened a page, created and started the heading 1, the heading 2, some more of the text. We've gone over that this area on the top here is considered the rich content editor, where you can, again, choose different things about your text, any kind of bold, italices, underlines, colors. hyperlinking, and then also now we're moving towards the multimedia. You can add images here, as well as add any kind of recordings. And then something that will be good for you all is, for example, adding these applications. So this is where, if you're interested in adding Play Pause It, this is where you can add Play Pause It. If you want to add a YouTube video, this is where you can add the YouTube video. Now, if you don't see this immediately, what you can do is go to View All. And then, for example, go to YouTube. Now, instead of being tempted to click on this drop down, you just want to click on the word itself. So YouTube. And then we're going to look for, like, let's say, videos of cookies. Okay, so we're going to embed this video on cookies. So we have the way with this kind of like outlet plug icon to embed videos. And here you can also, goes back to the Microsoft Word feel of, alignment, using bullets, tables. And then once you're done, what you want to do is hit save. So notice that I didn't really format that well. I put the video right after the title, but look, it saved all my information. And actually what I'll go ahead and do is make this look a little bit nicer. I want to make the video below the header. I'm going to bring my text up here, and then underneath the heading, put that text there that I had typed, and then save. And so notice that here we are. We got our header, learning how to bake cookies. We got introduction to baking cookies, and then some context and a video. So a student, when they're coming in, can have this then be their experience. So this is then how you can basically create a page within Canvas. Over here to the left hand side, you can create an assignment. So plus assignment. So anytime you see this plus something, you can hit plus assignment, and that way you can create it. So you want to do, for example, a quiz on creating, how about testing your knowledge, and we'll call it baking cookies. And then you can put your introduction here. And then below, this is where you can, for example, assign the points. If you want to display the grade as points, how do you want your students to submit? How many attempts? So these are all things that you're thinking about, like what you want your students to do. It's easy as a student to be like, okay, these are my parameters. But as an instructor, you want to think, oh, okay, what else? Like, why would I want students to do unlimited versus unlimited? And then also when I talk about plagiarism and Turnitin, when you go to, and it kind of hid from me the other day too, if you go to online and choose file uploads, scroll down, you're allowed to then go ahead and turn on Turnitin and give it a moment, and then you can actually set all the things that you want Turnitin to check if you were giving this assignment to students to submit. And then once you're done, you can hit save, and here you are. You just created your assignment. So if you were like, Brenda, that's great. I've created a page, I've created an assignment, and actually with an assignment, you can also add the rubric here too. So if you're trying to help students know how you're going to grade them, you can add the rubric here. And then once you're done, create the rubric, and that's how you do that. Done. So as I was mentioning, you're like, well, how do I have the students go through all these things? I just created a page, I just created an assignment. But look, when I go home, it still looks like this. So what do? So there's a couple of ways to do this, and when we were meeting yesterday, one of the students asked a really good question about whether or not something should be a module or not. So in my experience with you all, I would say a module would be more an advanced ID. At this time, you don't necessarily have the time to create a full module. But if you are interested, you can go to modules. You can create a module, for example, call it module 1, and then maybe the title of it. And then when you go to this plus sign, you can bring down the assignment that you created, anything that you create, or you can just add a new thing. For example, if we go to page, we can either add a new page or bring in that one that we created called How to Bake Cookies. And there you go. So there's a lot of things that you can do to try to learn and practice. But for me, I just want to see that you all have exposure to using Canvas, that you've been able to take the lesson plan that you have and put it into Canvas and be able to make it relatively visually pleasing. It doesn't have to be like super crazy with the colors and the images and the matching, but just that it's clean and that students would be able to navigate through it. So when we go to home now, look, right now module is saved as my home page. So when I come here, by default, I can see, okay, the modules, I need to go into lesson how to bake cookies. Now let's say you're not interested in the module to be the home page. What you can do is go to your page, like if you wanted this to be your home page. You're going to need to publish it first. Then you're going to go to these dots. So anytime you see 3 dots like this, that means you're going to be able to do something. And if you click on it, you'll have options pop out. So for example, when I did that, I can make this a front page. So I'm going to go ahead, I published it, go to the 3 dots, I had made it a front page. So now it's, you see this designation here, it's a front page. And I can go home and I can choose my home page right here. So those of you who are wondering where I'm in this section right here where you see that red button published. You're going to go 3 down to choose home page, and instead of having the course modules be the home page, you're going to do the page front page as the front page. So you're going to click on that, and then look, instead of the modules being the front page, now it's this lesson that I've created. People can automatically come to this lesson and start reading the introduction, start watching the video, which you're going to be creating your own interactive video. And when I say interactive, that's going to mean that you all are going to be practicing using PlayPosit, a video of your choice, a video tool of your choice. So some of you might want to practice with PlayPosit, some of you might want to use Edpuzzle, some of you are using Kahoot. I just need to see that you all been able to not just create a video, but be able to make it interactive between you and the students. Whether you're just giving the video to them or you're showing it in class. So just kind of that interaction there. So yes, so for this assignment, even if you just kind of started learning the space and basically putting your whole lesson here in one page in a good way, maybe giving me some assignments so I know how you use either the assignment, discussion, or quiz feature. So over here to the left is where you can choose to create an assignment, a discussion, or a quiz. That's pretty much all I'm after for the final ID project. Seeing how you all have evolved your lesson plan, and then also be able to create it within a learning management system. Now, I am available for any questions. I don't want to overwhelm you all because some of you might be very, very new to this. So I think just by showing you how to create a page and how to create an activity and how to use that rich content editor is a good start.